Okay, the motion is to approve option 6 as presented 2 weeks ago. We'll just take these in order. Brenner, Nelson, Kirschner.
Well, this doesn't mean I'm going to, in the end, support any, because that dock thing's important to me. So, that said, why don't we put 6 and Mann's both forward and get an evaluation of those two instead of making it just one? Would that be an okay motion with you, since you made the motion?
Well, the motion has been made, and the motion is to
She can
move
add it as a friendly amendment if she
item
wants.
option 6. Councilmember Nelson and then Kirschner.
I had some questions, and I don't know if, well, I guess first, Mr. Abart, are these numbers that you calibrated for Mr. Mann's proposal?
No, we've not actually checked or confirmed any of the numbers for Mr. Mann's proposal, but I know I've had some conversations with him as he was developing this.
So, Councilmember Mann, you have made these as assumptions as far as what, you know, the drop is or the increases on the vehicles.
What's the question?
You have made these as assumptions, or you just based it off the 20% vehicle decrease?
Oh, yeah, no, I used their spreadsheet.
Their spreadsheet.
Yeah, everything, the only thing I changed is pretty much in, everything in yellow. Anything in yellow is stuff that I added to the spreadsheet.
So when you pumped the, okay, so here's, can I jump in here?
Yeah, please do.
A couple observations. One is, and I'm just comparing option 6 to the Mann proposal, which was option 5 with some changes. And in option 6 that is currently on the floor, it's 11, the key rate here, in my humble opinion, is the vehicle with driver discounted, okay? And currently they're paying $6.40. Under option 6, they're going to be paying $11 under the motion that's on the table right now. Under Mann's proposal, they're going to pay $12.76 per trip. Okay, and that's just taking the $319 that they'll pay for a book of 25 and dividing it by 25. So this is $1.76 per trip increase, where I believe that gets, there's a couple of problems, I think, Councilmember Mann, and you might want to respond to this. Number one is there was an assumption that there would be a decrease in purchases once you increase this. Well, the $11 was a 72% increase, and the $12.76 is basically a 100% increase. $12.80 would be a. But you pump the number back up to the current number of trips, 3,027, whereas the Public Works had dropped that 7%, assuming that there would be a decrease in purchases. They're at 28. They were at 3,033 in 2009. They're down to 2,821.
I can answer that question.
But you put it back up to 3,000. Why is that?
Because in their proposal that I was using, they deleted the 10-trip book of vehicle with driver, and as far as I could tell, didn't account for those 222 rides anywhere. So I added it back in as 206 rides for the 25 book.
I see. So really simultaneous with that 206 above the 3027 should be 0 because that's
correct.
deleted.
Yes, that whole line. I was working off their spreadsheet and I didn't check with Peggy on that, but I did. If that line is going to get deleted, I figured those 206 rides would go somewhere.
Well, it's 222 times 10, so it's 2,220, and then divided by 25. You
right.
Probably,
yeah. I can't. Honestly, without looking at the formulas, I can't. I do remember I accounted for it. I can't guarantee that it was perfect, but I did try to account.
So your thought was all the people that currently avail themselves of discounts would continue to avail themselves, but overall it takes the 7% in because you're taking it down.
Yeah, and if you go all the way to the right to the 25% personal vehicle decrease assumed, it still comes out with enough to reach the target goal.
Okay. All right, the motion is for option 6. Any further questions or discussion? Option 6 as presented 2 weeks ago. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
And that motion fails 3-3 with Kirschner, Nelson, and Crawford in favor and the other 3 opposed. Mr. Mann, did you want to float your boat. Sorry, your,
I'll wait for Mr. Weimer's comment.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Councilmember Weimer.
Well, I was going to move approval of option 11, just to get something moving forward. I think it's somewhat of a compromise between option 6 and Mr. Mann's proposal, if I'm looking at the numbers correctly. And I think a lot of the argument comes down to whether we're worried most about the vehicle fare or the passenger fare, and this one, I think, is a little more fair with the passenger side of things. But certainly, as Mr. Kenny provided in his excellent analysis of all this, a good solution is hard to find anywhere here.
Okay, so option 11 gets us to the magic vehicle with driver to $11.48. So just again for comparison, Councilmember Kirschner was proposing 11. Councilmember Mann was at $12.76. These are all rates that are currently being paid $6.40. And this one is $11.48 for the big item increase. And it increases the single trip purchase from $10 to 14 cents. Councilmember Kirschner. And I should restate, the motion is to adopt, or was that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is to adopt option number 11 as we looked at it 2 weeks ago. Councilmember Kirschner?
My concern with these is that we are going to drive more people out of their vehicles and to the pedestrian side of the equation. And if we do that, then we won't have enough revenue to meet our target goal. So when we get down to the $5 rate for pedestrian, it just concerns me, and I'd like to see our pedestrian rate at $6 or more, actually, because pedestrians typically on that ferry are parking a car on one side, riding over on the ferry as a pedestrian, and picking their car up in a free parking lot on the other side to go on with their business. And we're paying for the parking lot. We're not charging the pedestrians for parking, and I think some consideration should be given to that.
Councilmember Mann.
That's a good point, that free parking lot, but it's so ironic because I feel like in every other decision I make, I'm trying to get people out of their cars.
Right, and in this case, you might have people with 2 cars.
I don't mind how many they own, I mind how much they drive it, I think.
Or where they park it.
Well,
And where they park it, that's
but
true.
in that scenario, they're going to drive the same.
No,
Other
no,
than-
I know.
Other
No.
than the distance from the parking lot to the approach ramp.
No, and that's, the whole parking thing is interesting, because on one side, it's going to be pretty steep to park, and then on the Lummi side, on the island side, it's free.
Well, it's not free. It's something we've chosen to subsidize.
Free to them, right.
Councilmember,
Wait, can I add one other comment on number 11, which is the large truck fee goes up to $176. And when I was doing my analysis, I felt like the larger trucks and trailers were getting unfairly or disproportionately burdened based on how much space they take up and how heavy they are. So like this one is the $176 for a large truck, and on, let's see, option number 6, it would be 132, and on mine it would have been 150. So not huge differences, but percentage-wise, it's pretty significant.
okay. Councilmember Weimer?
Yeah, I think the truck thing's a good thing, and maybe, whichever proposal we get on the table, we can come back and tweak it after we have a hearing and hear what the folks on the island said. Just in response to Councilmember Kirschner's thing about driving people to be pedestrians, I think that is a problem, and we've seen that after every other increase. What I've never seen is an analysis of how many people are really parking cars at both sides versus how many people are starting to carpool, because it seems like there's way more trips here than I see cars parked in those lots. So I think a lot of it is people riding with other people too, and I don't know what that mix is.
I'm going to support Councilmember Weimer's motion. I prefer actually some of the other things we've talked about, including option 6. It would be my preference. However, With Councilmember Knudsen gone today, I want to try to get 4 votes to do something, and I think that this is an urgent problem and it's not going away, and we need to get it done. So I will kind of conditionally support that, and the condition is, well, I would just say reluctantly support Councilmember Weimer on option 11, so we can get an ordinance moved forward. Okay, any other discussion on the motion to approve or to request the administration bring forward an ordinance based on option 11? Councilmember Brenner.
I'm probably the only one. I'm really confused now. This is,
You're the only one that'll admit it.
okay.
Was there
Follow-up?
anything else you wanted to say?
I can't support something that I don't even understand at this point.
Okay.